Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a Sunday sermon. Each week, we try to bring you messages from God's servants. Well, this week will be a little different, but it's definitely God's servants. We're going to be hearing from Buddha. He is followed by many people around the world, and actually, is very interesting. So let's begin. Buddha, I know you're ready to speak. Indeed. I want to thank you for allowing me to come through and speak today. I know many people know of me. I know many people think they know of me. God sent me back to try to lead people to doing good things. He knew that it was a very, very difficult time in human history. It was the 5th to 6th century. People were worshiping many gods. It's not a coincidence that he sent back many of the world's best philosophers at that time period. I walked the earth the same time as Confucius. There were Greek philosophers. There were many, many people that were trying to bring information and thought processes to humans. Just as that was a very difficult time, today's a very difficult time for humans as well. You see, there's so much violence, there's so much evil, there's so much going on in the world. It is once again a time to bring you information, to bring you the words of God. Now, I didn't speak of God. I spoke more of a lifestyle. I spoke of a way of finding happiness, of being kind to others. I spoke of a way of life that would bring you personal happiness. And even though I didn't speak of God, I spoke of a path that would lead you to happiness, not only on earth, but when you returned, you would be very well blessed. You would be well judged. You see, it's very difficult for people to understand the simplicity of what it takes to find true happiness. I wanted you to live a life of honor. I wanted you to live a life where you did not harm others. I wanted you to be at peace with the environment that was around you. I wanted you to meditate and understand the inner self of humans. You see, there's many dimensions to humans. There's many ways to approach a good life. If you understand your inner self, then your outer self will respond. If you understand that your inner self consists of a spark of energy of God. Now, I never spoke of this in life. I didn't understand this until I returned. But your inner self is a reflection of God. You see, I thought your inner self was just a reflection of good, of respecting your elders, of understanding that self does not necessarily mean self. Self means many things. Self means how you understand what is going on around you. Self Self is something that you must understand. If you can meditate, you will hear the words of your guides. Now, you see, I didn't totally understand what was taking place when I meditated. I was getting messages from energies. I was getting messages from angels, from guides, and from God Himself. But I truly didn't understand all that was taking place. I wanted each individual to be able to reach, I understood it as a state of oneness with oneself. What I didn't understand truly was that the inner self or oneself is so closely related to God. I like to believe that every human has a good inner self. It's the translation to outer self where things go astray. You see, the outer self, as you know, has free will. The outer self has the ability to do what it wants. The inner self is a key. It's the key to how you live with your outer self. In my day, I understood some of this. I understood that your outer self had to find peace. If you're showing anger and hatred, you're not finding peace. That's not the way it works. You see, anger, hatred, the desire for great wealth, the desire for power, all of these things lead you away from God's inner self. That's hard to understand, and I understand that as well. I wanted those around me to live in peace, to do well, to understand the peace that will come to you when you find your inner self. Now, many of you out there could care less about that. You're all caught up in your daily lives. You're all caught up in doing what you want. Keep in mind that quite often what you want is not what God wants for you. I've changed, obviously, since I came over onto this side, because once you pass from your human self, you gain the knowledge that you learned in all of your prior lives. If you've lived a good series of lives, you've advanced in the realms of heaven, and you have a lot of understanding. You're able to look at the past, and then you'll get glimpses of the future depending on how much you've advanced in heaven. How you understand your human life is going to play a great role in how you understand your afterlife. You see, there is no doubt about the afterlife. Heaven is very real, God is very real, angels, guides, all of the things of which you hear Barry speak are very, very real. You see, God laid out a very, very intricate system for humans. I tried to approach the teachings of God through understanding my inner self through meditations. Through meditations, I would receive messages, and then I would take those messages and try to pass them on to others so that those others could obtain the higher understanding of human life that I had obtained. Now, what if you're allowing free will to destroy all that your inner self would like you to accomplish? Well, it's quite simple. A very basic understanding is doing unto others as you would have them do to you. Don't do anything to others that you don't want done to you. There's many ways to phrase it. But basically, it just comes down to treating others like you want to be treated. Respect the elders, because believe it or not, they've accumulated great knowledge. Many people are dedicating their lives to helping humans obtain an understanding of their inner self. And that leads to a path that brings their outer self to the realms, the upper realms of heaven. It is well worth your time to understand that leading a good life is incredibly important. You don't want to be delegated to lower realms in heaven. You see, your soul will spend an infinite time, an everlasting time, and your human life is a blink of the eye. Now, that's hard to understand because to you, a human life is all that there is. If you don't believe in God, you believe that you have so many years to live this life. It's not, well, that is true for that human life. But the everlasting life of your soul is what is so important. Each time you return, you bring memories back of your time in heaven and memories of prior lives. They're just hidden, they're part of your inner self. Sometimes those memories will help affect the life that you're living, sometimes they won't. You see, people can obtain higher levels or realms in heaven without even knowing that God exists. Now, the religions don't want you to hear that. They want you to have to rely on them for salvation. That's not true. You see, the entire story about how you'll be judged when you return home depends on how you live your life. There are many people in this world that are in very primitive areas that have never heard of the God of Christianity, the God of Judaism, or even Buddhism. But in their own way, they live a good life. They may be in primitive tribes and they help the people of the tribes to exist, to find food, to do what they need to raise their families. They protect them. They do all of the things that many people that believe in God do. So God is truly the answer. It just it's just not necessary that you comprehend who he is. People in primitive tribes, they often worship nature. They look around them, they see the grandeur of all that is around them, and they know that something is special. And they worship whatever they can comprehend of that nature. You see, you can follow my teachings and be of any religion. My teachings will bring a good life to whatever religious belief you may have. You may be Catholic, you may be Baptist, you can be anything and still follow my teachings. They're very simple. I want you to follow righteousness. I want you to do what is correct. I want you to help others. I want you to love others. I want you not to show anger. I want you not to show hatred. You can do all these things without believing in a specific God. Now, it helps that you do. Obviously, I want you to believe in God now that I'm on the other side. But what I'm telling you is that there are many, many paths to heaven. There are many ways that you can arrive here and have a great judgment. There are more ways that you can arrive here and have a bad judgment. You see, I'm using the word judgment because you have to judge what you want to do. None of us can do it for you. You can become closer to your inner self and follow the pathways that will lead you to happiness when you arrive home. It's all very simple. So, thank you once again for allowing me to speak. I know that some of the things I said were a little complicated today, but just go out and do good. That's all you have to do. There, I've really simplified it. 2 words, do good. So thank you. Thank you, Barry, for allowing me to speak once more. Should you wish for me to return, I would be more than happy to do so. So goodbye. Have a great life. Know your inner self, and all will be well. Thank you, Buddha. That definitely was different. And I got to go back and listen to it because it was a little bit complicated at times. But thank you so much. Okay, everybody, we're here Sunday mornings. Tell your friends about us. You absolutely never know who you're going to hear from. You see, God gave me a very, very unique gift, and I'm trying to use it to bring you as many different types of messages as I can. Going to keep doing it as long as I can. So check in with us next week. I'm not sure who they want, but I know it's going to be outstanding. God bless all of you. Have a great week, and goodbye.